Immovable Mountain. Karate Stances by Shoto Maui. In the Karate Stances module, we won't be demonstrating all of karate stances. Rather, we'll be deconstructing the anatomy of a karate stance for a better understanding. We'll look at the fundamentals of stance execution and topics like transition and choice of stance. If the body lacks balance and stability, offensive and defensive techniques will be ineffective. Powerful, fast, accurate, and smoothly executed techniques can be performed only from a strong and stable base. This quote from Master Masatoshi Nakayama, one of Master Funakoshi's most senior students, is a very appropriate place to begin our look at karate stances. Just how important are stances? Well, karate's techniques can be categorized into not just stances, but kicks, strikes, punches, grappling, and blocks. Without exception, however, every technique requires proper stance to be effective, and this makes stances unique. As the foundation, therefore, of all karate techniques, again, it is stance that determines stability, power, speed, movement, options, and transition, all through our connection to the ground. Let's look at the anatomy of a stance, a way to break down the detail. At its highest level, stances are built through the connection of the feet, or the foot, to the floor, through the setup of the legs, the orientation of the hips, and position of the upper body. What does this look like in detail? Working from the top, we must consider the direction and setting of our head. How do our shoulders sit? What are we doing with our arms and our hands? Moving down, what's the orientation of our hips? Position of each leg and knee is important. And finally, what are we doing with our feet? Where are they located? Where are they pointed? And how are they connecting to the floor? Let's look at a couple of examples and break down the details, starting with front stance. The head here is level and our gaze is forward. Our shoulders are relaxed and in this case are square to the front. Our torso is vertical on all axes to help maintain balance. Our hips are square, although the position of the hips does depend on techniques being executed from the front stance. Our forward leg is bent at the knee low with approximately 60% of our body's weight on that leg. Our rear leg is almost completely straightened, and our feet are shoulder width apart and arched in towards the center line of our body. Looking at a second example, back stance. Similarly, our head is level and our gaze is forward. However, although our shoulders remain relaxed, they are open. Our torso remains vertical on all axes, and in this case, like the shoulders, our hips are open, approximately 45 degrees. Our forward leg is straightened almost entirely, and in this case, it's our rear leg that is bent low with approximately 70% of our body's weight on that leg. Our heels are in line with one another, and our feet make an L under the body. On the surface, stances can seem straightforward, but as the previous slides demonstrate, we must consider all of the parts of the body, literally from the head to the toe. Try examining these details from the head to the gaze to the shoulders and so on when you're doing your own stances. There are many stances. Some of the most common in the Shotokan and karate style include zenkutsu-dachi, or front stance, kokutsu-dachi, back stance, kiba-dachi, side stance or straddle stance, musubi-dachi, attention stance, hangetsu-dachi, half moon stance, and neko-ashi-dashi, cat stance. This is but a small selection. But with so many stances, which do you choose? Which is the best stance? Well, as you might suspect, there is no such thing as a best stance. The choice of stance is based on factors such as the relative location of your opponents. Are they close to you? Are they far? To your side? To your rear? And which techniques are you about to execute? Are you planning to shift forward into a kick or step forward into a punch? Are you going to execute a sweep? As you can see, no one stance fits all scenarios. If we look carefully at these three positions that Master Nakayama is in, we might ask ourselves, which techniques could most effectively follow these stances? Consider this for yourself, and notice that one of the stances is in fact a kneeling seiza position, because in true karate fashion, every position is a stance and can be followed by technique. Stance transition. No matter how good a stance is, if nothing follows, it's of not much use. Whether for kata or free sparring, movement from one stance to the next, with balance and in a smooth but sharp manner, takes many years of practice to master. What are some of the fundamentals of transition? Movement and rotation of the hips to move the body forward. Keeping a level height of the body, not bobbing up and down as we move. The way we shift on our feet. Rotation on our heels around the body's central axis when we're spinning or turning around. The way we expand and contract various parts of our body. Stance transition is very difficult because of these and many other details. Great persons are great because of good, strong foundations on which they were able to build a character. This quote from Alfred A. Montapert, the author of The Supreme Philosophy of Man, gives us some insight into why stance is such a fundamental part of good karate. Your Shoto Maui creator and host. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu. If this was helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.